Good evening. I should say good morning. It's a new day. But this video is going to be about if Jesus preached about love. Well, I can tell you this. He preached about love 2 or 3 times in the scriptures. He preached about it in Matthew. He preached about it in Luke. When people get confronted of their sins, they say, well, why aren't you loving your neighbor? And why are you preaching hate? It's because they don't like getting addressed in their sins and they're trying to be covered up by the darkness, and the darkness is not trying to come to the light. Jesus did say in Matthew 5, Matthew 5, he said, love your enemies. He said, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. So people are going to persecute you because you're coming with the truth about how they can turn from their sins. And then also in Matthew 22, he taught, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind, and with all thy mind, that's right. That was the first and greatest commandment. And the second commandment was like this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The problem today is many pastors in the church are filling up their pews so much because they're not preaching about the bad besides the good. They're only talking about the love of God. They're not talking about the wrath of God. They're not talking about hell or anything of what could happen. But when you talk about love so much, yeah, of course you're gonna win souls because they're not being convicted. They feel like they can still live in sin, so you're gonna have many friends like that. Woe unto you that men shall speak well of you, for so their fathers to the false prophets. That's what Jesus said in Luke 6. I believe it's verse 26, if I'm not mistaken. So, if you're going to preach about love, you got to also preach about sin. Because if you just preach about love, no one's going to leave changed. They're going to think, okay, I want to hear more of this love, because the so-called believer isn't being convicted in their sin. That's why there's many false prophets today, and many false teachers and pastors, and you name it, in the churches, because they don't want to lose business. They don't want to lose their tithes and offerings. So yeah, they're going to preach nothing but love. But you just got to come with both the good and the bad. You got to, if you want people to change and fear God, and hopefully get saved out of their sins, then you have to preach sin, you have to preach hell, and you have to preach about holiness. If Jesus preached nothing but love more than hell, no one would be in heaven. If he never warned people about sin and hell, there'd be no reason for him to die on the cross. But greater love had no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. You're my friends if you do whatsoever I command you, is what the word says. So loving your neighbor is warning your neighbor about the danger of sin and what could happen if they don't repent. I hope this message helped. I could tell God was calling me to speak on this message tonight. God bless.